Hey guys, today is January the 18th of 2019. Wow, we made it through 2018. What an amazing year that was. Sorry I haven't been posting in a long time, I guess since December. I think that was my last videos. Maybe I was talking about the uranium sector, saying that it was very bearish, and so far the forecast came to pass. A lot of stuff sold off. But anyway, that was my last video. And then, family, kids, and traveling and all that stuff. Just didn't have time to catch up and post something. And recently I was working on a side project. And now I'm home and, I wanted to post a video. And it was just kind of like a montage of different things. I just want to catch up. First off, when I don't post videos, normally I'm in this website called Forex Factory, and there's a forum called Gann analysis, and there are a few traders here, not many, it's just probably me and maybe some other, maybe one or two or three that post here. There's mostly two that are really active, myself and this trader called Weak Trader, and we talk about ideas and share analysis, and I wanted to show you something he shared. Talking about the pound dollar. So we kind of post pictures here, and he was telling me, hey, I'm checking out the pound dollar, and I posted some things, and we just kind of share some ideas. But what I really wanted to show you is that I was looking at the monthly this morning and just looking at the structure. Monthly, it's very bearish, the news and the Brexit exit and all that stuff. But look at the pattern that it's developing. You got your first impulse wave, which is 1, and now this is 2. Gann says if you want to do an entry low risk, you want to get in, at the third, when it's about to do the third wave when it pulls back in. So this is the second wave. So in theory, the third wave is the biggest one. So this is like a long-term trade. You just kind of get in. Right now, sentiment is very low. It's ugly. We don't know what's going to go on. Theresa May is going through hell. And if you bypass all that and you just look at the structure, this is a great pattern, for the future, for 2019. Awesome play. Is it going to play out? I don't know. But just looking at, the chart, I just, I posted this, and there's a buy signal here, and this is a point of control, which is at 130, 114-ish around there. And I looked at the daily, and you're at the top of the linear regression channel, also with a ninth candle. So, do I want to buy here? Maybe not. Maybe I probably want to, wait for it to do a pullback, maybe here, or this is daily, so maybe here, anywhere you could, anywhere buying here, here, just showing you roughly, the levels I would probably be interested in looking at, and maybe get in. But the daily is above the Kumo cloud, but there's this big resistance right here. So just wanted to show you some of the things. That's why, sometimes when I'm not posting, I just don't have the time to make the video. But today I'm making a video, and this is going to be a long one because I'm going to talk about different things, answer some questions, and just kind of share some knowledge and some information. So this is the Aussie dollar. This is the one I like trading, and we can see here, if you look at the forum, I just show you what I have, my analysis dates I'm watching. The Gann 1x3 resistance. This is coming from April of the 2nd of 2001. So you can see that it was chopping around here. So this is kind of some techniques that I use of Gann. These are levels, retracement levels that I watch. This is so far where we at. This is for downside and upside. Just in case it turns on you, you know where it could be possible targets. The square of 9 in trading days. So we use a lot of different things. You know, we do analysis on different styles, and use different, especially a lot of the stuff that Gann, taught. So that's pretty much it. I wanted to go over cycles. I'm calling it the battles of the cycle. So this is going to be a video just on the Aussie, on just cycles and how I use it, how I go about it. And we're going to start off with this trading software I use. And let's go with the monthly. So you can see the Aussie, we put a high here, the cycle's projecting down, we came down, it came up. You can see how price is going, it came down here, came up. Was turning here. It turned early, and then the cycle kicked in high here, and then it was projecting down. So everything was looking good. We put a low here. Cycles are projecting up. A little pullback. It came, a little pullback here. Then it continued pushing higher, and then the cycle low ended here. Maybe pulled in here, but it kind of get in early here, but it was making a higher high and, a higher low here. So the cycles continue pushing higher. This is January, obviously the 26th. It was projecting, March, that was going to be a high. So it came in early, and then it projected lower, and this is where we're at right now. So this low is January the 3rd, and the forecast is, the cycle forecast is forecasting for February the 28th, officially. The end of the month, it'll make a low, and then it should project higher all the way to December the 5th of 2019. I'll be chopping around here and there, but these are monthly, so this is long term. So it's just showing you, so you can see, sometimes it comes in early. Sometimes there's a pullback. There's not, there's a little minor pullback. It goes up, a little minor pullback, but it kind of locks in here and there. So this is the forecast. So this is going to be the battle of the forecast. So let's see how this pans out if we continue to go higher into 2019 for the Aussie. Then you go for the weekly, and this is where it gets interesting. You can see we put a high here. It was forecasting a low here. We came up. It came in early. See, halfway of the cycle. The cycle said it was projecting March the 9th, or the week of the 9th. We put it high on January the 26th, and it projected lower. And look at this. You see this high here, this weekly high? Look at the cycle bottom. So look at this high. Well, the high was kind of over here. And this is the bottom cycle bottom here. The trough. And the peak, the trough. Every time Aussie goes up and the cycle's down, it's an inverted on the weekly. See? Look at that. And then when it goes to the peak, it's pushing lower. And then here it kind of made a swing low in the middle of the wave, and it went up and then it got inverted. And this was a massive crash spike, swing low in the middle, in between the peak and the trough of the wave, and now the wave ends on the peak on February the 22nd. You can see, interesting, it's out of the channel, trying to create a channel to the upside. So February the 22nd, you got to watch that on the cycle. So it'd be interesting to see if, since it's a peak up, a peak here, is it going to push lower into the 22nd and then go higher into May the 24th. So those are kind of things I kind of looking at what the past has done. See, bottom cycle made a top. Bottom cycle made a top, but it was off by a week. It kind of what I call an analysis is the instrument is blowing off steam. So it kind of got a bunch of stops and then shut down. Let's look at the daily real quick. And this one gets a little more choppy. This one is not as accurate compared to the weekly and the daily, but it's pretty close. And mind you, this is going to be a long video. I'm going to be talking about cycles analysis and how I go about it and how I do it and the programs I use and all that stuff. So if you don't have time, just save it for later. And when the kids are, sleeping and you just want to do a little research, you could continue watching the video. So I continue. So this is the daily on the Aussie. So you can see that right here, we kind of made a low here. I'm just going to continue and, it pulls back. It's just kind of chopping around. The high was here. It sometimes, it just never locks the high. It's always off. It's either early or late. Don't think that these cycles are just going to nail them. Here it's pretty close. Got this pop, pulled back down. It was close here. It was pretty good actually there. That was pretty good. Came down here. See, it came out early. And the cycle was projected the 31st, but it finished on the 25th. Shot back up. So you get the idea, right? So we made a high here on December the 4th and just pulled back down. The cycle projected a low on the 21st. We kind of went sideways. And then look at that. On the peak, it made this massive crash. And then shot up while the cycles were going down into the 16th. And this is where we at right here. It made a high on the 11th. So it's going to be interesting to see the cycle projected to be higher on the 28th, 29th, around there. It'd be interesting to see how this pans out. Another software that I use in regards to cycle, it's my timing solutions, and this is Easy Cycle that I use. So there's a couple. They got Easy Cycle, they have Turbo Cycle, they got seasonalities, and they have Fourier strings that I use. And they also have Spectrum. So this is the Easy Cycle. As you can see, it's a little more choppier, but it's kind of trying to predict the future on a tighter grid, more fractal. So what I wanted to show you is in forecasting, let's see what next week holds. So once I go through all these cycles, we'll jog it down and we'll see how many cycles are going long and how many cycles are going short. So right now, we see that the Easy Cycle is projecting a swing low on the 22nd, and then it shoots up to the 30th, and then it goes down. The Turbo Cycle, if you shrink this a little more, the Turbo Cycle is showing that, there's a swing low on March, which kind of lines up with the my other model here on the big picture. Somewhere towards the end of February, March is some big swing low cycle. If you do on the weekly, it's a weekly high, which is it's all in February, the 22nd. If we go into March, I think the lowest it's the 1st, and there's a 20th. So this one is pointing a big cycle to the bottom. It was chopping around here. And then this blue line that's kind of more choppy, this is more of a fractal cycle. So it's showing that it's pushing lower all the way to the 24th. And that's the Turbo Cycle that I use. And then another cycles that I use, and I could do this one and I could show it to you, is the Fourier string, which I love using. Fourier string, you could use it, you could get the vibration of this movement from January the 26th all the way to this swing low of January the 3rd. And what it does is it shows you what are the possible vibrations in the future just using this past movement. So we could pick this high and go down here. Let's see, maybe I nailed it. We can look at it close and make sure we got our top. Yeah, we got our top there. Let's close this a little more. And we got our bottom. So you see that the cycle, and let's just go back so you can kind of see. It's picking the wave of the movement here and then replicating it into the future. So it's just giving you the vibration of what this swing high and this swing low has done in the past. That's Fourier string. And then if you go into the settings, you could pick, I mess around between two settings, the close, and I normally leave it at default at the RPO 50/50. So you could kind of go back and forth. You could test the other settings. I go in between the close and the 50/50. So pretty much what it's showing me here is that there is a possibility that there's a turn coming down now into the future. And then another thing you could do is, and that's just this first movement right here. You could just take it out, and we could pick the low. Let's make sure that's the low. Yeah, so we could pick this low from here and go all the way to that January, because this is the one move right here. Even though it's going back and forth, chopping around, and then from here this was another move. So you have to look at it like in sections, And when I mean sections, this was the top, right? And then it kept going down, even though it did all this other stuff, going back up, going down, sideways chop, going back. And then from here, it created a new channel, or a new, what's the word? A new trend. Even though it was kind of sideways, but it was grinding higher. So you go from here to here and from here to here. So I try to go from the latest leg before the January the 26th. So obviously it will be from right here to here. So you'll pick the Fourier string, and you'll you grab the low, but you lock in and make sure you grab the right low. You hit OK. You get a little closer, and you got the low. And you go to the swing top, and you got it right there. Then you go in, and let's see. I believe I have it at the close. So let's just look what it does. Let's see what it does here. You see, not really much here. Just kind of does this, goes up. There's a swing low here and a swing top, and it goes back down. It picked up that little crash there. And now it's projecting higher into March. So it's inverse. It's inverse the bottom of the projected low on the big cycle, which is over here. See how interesting that is? So, and with my past history of trading, I could tell you it could either be a top or a bottom. If it's going to follow this, it's going to be a top. If it goes lower, then or pushes lower or sideways to lower, it will be an inverse. But let's put the setting that I normally use. I switch between those two. And you can mess around with any of those settings, especially for those that have this software. 50/50. And you see it still does it, but you see the movements are better. The calculations of the algorithm are much better here. And it kind of gives you an overview of the cycle. So you see it's showing that it's going up. So then once you put both of them together, I'm sure maybe you could change the color, but for just to save time, I just wanted to show you. So this is this is where trading gets interesting, because then you're faced with choices. You got one Fourier string projecting that the cycle is going to turn down going into February, and then you have one projecting that it's going to go higher into March, and it could all be inverted. So those are the challenges you have. So those are another technique I use. Let's minimize that and get that out of the way. And then another cycle analysis technique I use is called the spectrum. The spectrum is pretty good. I like it. These are the tools of the trade that you need to have in your arsenal to get a good understanding of these cycles. So what I do is the chart that I have of the Aussie is 47-year data. I don't need 47 years. You could use 47, but when you look at the, look, I'll put it 47 and analyze all 47 years of the cycle so you can just see what's important to me when I do an analysis on cycles. This is 47 years of cycle. What is the most important cycle that you see right here? It's the highest peak. That is the main bad boy right here. That is the one that the software algorithm computer picked up and said, you know what? Out of all these little cycles, fractal, mini, small, big, wide, this is the most important. So you pick that one. And you know that that big cycle it's 571 days. So I don't need to do the calculation of 47. But if you want to, you can for the max of your instrument that you're trading or your stocks. So, if it's 500, I just need 2 years. Put that in there. I calculate to that. And that's that peak right there. Narrowed down. You do 5 years. Just to make sure we got it. Is it 570? Yep. $570. So yeah, so now that you know for sure, you could just put 2 years and it locks that down and it analyzes the last 2 years. And it's right there. Click on that. And you could go, you could do this. You could just pick that one and use the overtones and put it at 0, and it just kind of matches. And this is not going to pick every turn, but it gives you the direction of the cycle. So the cycle says going down. You see it was going up, but eventually started going down. But then it bottoms here, and then the cycle goes up. But the Aussie still continues selling. So is it inverting? That's the question. We're going to bottom here, and then we're going to go up into here, which is what, 2019, December? So remember I said December? Remember I said December? Where was December coming from? The monthly. Yeah, December. This cycle up here on the other program. December 5th, 2019. It's up. So we go here, it's inverted down. So that means that we make a low somewhere around March and then go all the way up doing the inverted price action while the cycle's going down, prices are going up. To December, I don't know. That's the thing you have to analyze and think and see price action if that's what's playing out. Just because it's pointing down doesn't mean we're going to continue pushing lower. You have to kind of juggle things and kind of make sense of things of what price action is doing. But the ultimate king is price action. So if price action puts a low here and it just starts trending higher, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, all the way to December, well, damn, it got inverted. That's when you want to go long. So I'm just kind of showing you the things that you have to be thinking about and analyzing when you're doing cycle analysis. So let's say, okay, so we here, and this is the overtone 0. I normally do between 3, and I go to 6. I don't think I go higher than 6. You go 9. You could go 9 if you want to do a little more fractal. Look at that. Almost picked that crash. But I normally do 3, 6, 9. I do 9 just to see what it's doing. But 6, you can see we could let's get this let's get it up here. Let's get this and let's take this off. So you can see that it's showing a cycle of going up. So there's a lot of stuff going on in February. We're gonna either pop and pop big to do this maybe third wave going up, or maybe we're gonna do a final low. we'll see. I kind of feel like maybe this is the low, but you never know until, you know, it starts playing out. And then if you go to cycle, well, we already did it, overtone 1. You already know what it's showing. It's showing this as a projected high. With the 3 and the 6, it just shows you a better cycle. And this is what kind of played out right here. It looks like it wants to go up there. So once I have that, and you know, you could go, another thing you could do is you could delete all this and let the program pick, you know, the five best cycles, and this is what it did. And you could go to 1. And you can see, I mean, it gets a little crazy. I normally kind of keep it down here when it does that, so I can kind of see it better. And you could go to 6, which is the default of the program. So there was a cycle low here, all of them lined up, and the crash then came a couple of days. So you could start off with this is something I do too. You could do 1 and highlight all of these, hit the harmonic, and you know that the red one, which is this one right here, is the key one. All of these are just, you know, fractal ones, and you could just take them off or delete them, or just have the red one. So right here, do this, and it's showing you the turning points. So this one is saying on the harmonics, you got to watch out for July the 6th. We'll see how that pans out. We could take the harmonics, we could open this one up, and if you want, you could just delete all these, or delete everything, and just pick that one, and let's see what it does. Just with this, with the big one, and clear this out, put that in with the harmonics with just 1, and you could just play around with it. You could use the 1 and you could use the 6 and see what happens. But the analysis, computer analysis, will show you. Say something about September. Somewhere around here is a high. That's interesting. Nailed that one right up there. It came down. Let's do the 6 harmonic and see what happens there. I don't know if there's going to be any difference. Let's take that again. Oh, maybe there is. See what it does here. I'm gonna pick the low there. That's a January high. 24. Let's see here. So this one picked a little more. I think you see there was something in between here, the 7th and the 13th. Wow, 13th. That the 11th was the swing high right now, so that's interesting. And then it came to 13, and now it's pushing all the way, or showing a turn, July the 9th. So we got to see how price action is going to behave So that, there's a lot of dates. I know there's a lot of months and a lot of things you got to watch, but that's part of you doing your analysis. You just see which one is going to pan out or play out, but at least you're aware of what's going on. All right, so we could take that off. Let's see, maybe we could leave that there. And did I cover everything? I think so. Those are the ones that I watch. Oh, seasonal. So let's do this. On this program, we could do seasonalities. And this is right here. Load. Let's see, load that. Apply. Actually, I did the wrong one. Maybe that's the monthly. Okay, here we go. So seasonality cycles is showing that we make a high here on the 15th and that we make a swing low on February the 5th. So it's projecting lower, and it's, kind of in sync with the cycle here. I'm just going to deal with the daily. So on timing solution, we could use that information too. So there's a lot of information here. We'll break it down one by one. Let's just uncheck all this other stuff here. So first thing I do is I want to see what did the Aussie do 10 years ago. And this is what the Aussie did 10 years ago. It made a low on February, kind of popped, made a low in March, and then shot up. WD Gann says to watch the 10-year cycle. Sometimes it plays out exactly how it did 10 years ago. So that's my first way to look at it. My go-to. See what the markets have done in the past 10 years ago. So this is what it did. Low in March, kind of popped, dead cat bounce. March the 3rd-ish, around there, and then projected all the way to December. So we take that off. So that's something you should just be aware of. Seasonalities, annual and decimal. So it's showing here that we make a low the last week of January, pop to February 6th, and then make a low on the February the 28th. Just got to trade higher. So we'll see how that's going to pan out. The next thing, you do annual. So it's pushing lower. Fast annual. Direction is lower to the 27th. Mid-annual, lower. Fast. High. Lower. That's it. So what you do is, with all this information, you go one by one. And if you want to play what next week is going to do from the 21st all the way to the 26th, I believe. What is that, the 26th? Or the 25th. From the 21st to the 25th, what is going to happen with the Aussie? Then you just start popping this up, and if it's pointing down, you do a check mark. So let's do this now. So 10 years ago, last week it pushed lower, kind of chopped around, just kind of was kind of like an inside range. So I wouldn't mark this. It's just kind of showing me what it did 10 years ago. Let's see. Annual. So I put one short. That week, just lower. Lower. Mid. Yep. Projecting lower. Put one for long. And this is big picture right here. I think I covered it right there, right? All these are kind of hard to pick up on. Well, you could. I rarely use these, the monthlies. If you want to use the monthlies, we can. This is going up. Let's give that one a long. The weeklies are probably the ones that are really scattered like that. So we knock down the natural cycles. Then we go into the Fourier string. And you can see that it's projecting lower. So looking right now, the shorts are really strong. And this one is projecting, whoops. This is projecting higher. The Fourier string is out. And then spectrum. You can see that it's projecting higher. So that one's long. And that was in the setting of 6. You could go 1, and it's still projecting higher for next week. Turbo cycles are projecting lower for next week. Easy cycle for next week is projecting higher. I think I covered all these here. Yep, and then we go into the other program. So this was all Think or Swim. Let's see what this program. So here, see the seasonalities are projecting lower. So it's a short. And cycle-wise, on the daily, it's projecting higher. So 1 and 1. There's not too many cycle stuff here. Just these right here that I'm showing you. So 1 and 1 for seasonality and for the cycle. So there you have it. So for the Think or Swim, it's saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 possibilities that it will go long or higher next week. And for shorts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You got 7 possibilities that the cycles will pan out, saying that it will be short. And it's even on the cycles on this program. So we'll see. Looking at the price action, I was short on the 71.88, and then this pop right here got me stopped out. I had my stop right above it. I didn't want to take too much risk. I was either going to be right or right out. So it popped up, came up all the way here, kind of chopped around, and this is where it's at right now. Now we have a sell signal again. So I'm going to sign out. This is a long video. This is probably the biggest one I've done. 38 minutes, but if you endure to the end, then you kind of understand how I go about cycle analysis and how and that's just one part of it. It's just so much other stuff involved. But if you want to go the cycle analysis route, this is what I do. And this is a kind of analysis I get from these programs and kind of give me an edge and an inclination on where could, price action could possibly go for next week. And then using other stuff of Gann, you kind of just have this big picture and you kind of be like, okay, all of this stuff is leaning towards this. So the probabilities are that it's going to go this direction. And that's where, you place your trade and then, let it play out. If it doesn't play out, you got your stop, you got stopped out, and then you go back in, put your gloves, and go at it again. I'm going to sign out. Hopefully you like this video, and if you want to join us here, you can come in, Forex Factory. We don't discriminate. You could bring any chart, stocks, whatever we talk about there, and show your analysis. We'll check it out, and we just share ideas and just help each other out. Have a great week, and I'll see you again.